Alright, so the first thing you're going to need is remover, and yes, that is clear nail polish. You'll obviously need something to use that with. You're also going to need a cuticle pusher and or something that doubles as a remover. I'll explain that one later. Or you can just use a finger. A cuticle softener, but running water is free, so that works too. You will need files, and this will be singular or plural, depending on your budget. Next, you'll need a cuticle remover. You'll notice that the third option is non-existent because this is optional. You'll also need cuticle oil. This is not optional. And hand lotion, another non-optional option. Now, let's take a closer look at the splurge option. This category will likely have a lot of stainless steel instruments or premium brands. That's just because they're easily sanitizable, and even though they cost a little bit more, they are considered an investment piece. Now, if you decide to purchase cuticle cutters, you're going to want a good stainless steel pair. This is going to cost you at least $20, but may cost you up to $100, so they're an investment piece, but it's optional. And for your cuticle pusher, stainless steel is also the way to go, but I also recommend the ceramic cuticle stone. Like the stainless steel option, which normally comes with a curette, the stone is going to remove the cuticle too, and it's cheaper. Oh, files. I actually get a lot of questions about files, and specifically for this category, you're going to invest in different kinds. You want to purchase anywhere from a sponge buffer to maybe a glass file, stainless steel, which I don't currently have, and different grits is always a good idea. I would say you probably don't need anything other than a 220 or 240 and maybe a 180 or 150. Now, for a cuticle softener, if you guys have seen my nail care routine, then you know that I love the mineral body peel from ORG as a cuticle softener. It's not its intended use, but it works perfectly. So if you have the money, it is a great investment. Next up is also another favorite, which is the Remove Plus from Zoya. Not only is the formula on this really good, but the pump is probably like 40% of the reason why I buy it. The pump is spill proof and it really works. So for professionals, it is a must, and for the rest of us, it's really effective at removing your polish without completely dehydrating the nail like acetone does, and you can use it as a nail prep too. Now here I have some cotton pads, but any of you guys who know me know that I really prefer cut cotton, and the ones that I use are from Muji, but cotton balls will work as well if you're into that type of thing. Just don't tell me about it. And finally, you will need some cuticle oil. The one that I'm using here is from Gelish, and it smells lovely. It's like lemons. And we're off to the second category. For cuticle cutters and pushers, I recommend these two options if you don't want to splurge. These are really inexpensive. These cuticle cutters are actually from 5 and Below, and they're only $3. And the cuticle pusher is 99 cents. It's made of silicone, so it's really soft, and it has cuticle trimmers again on the other side. But both of these are really sharp, so be careful. They are optional for a reason. You don't need them. If you don't need to trim your cuticles after pushing them back, don't. And speaking of cuticles, yes, this is a lemon. If you don't have a cuticle softener, you can use a lemon juice or apple cider vinegar, but I'm pretty sure most people are gonna go for the lemon. Citrus fruits all contain alpha hydroxy acids. They basically eat away at dead skin cells, so it's a great way to gently exfoliate and push back your cuticles without having to use too much force. Next is one of our files, which is going to be a sponge buffer. You want to make sure that your sponge buffer is soft. This will allow you to remove any staining and smooth out any ridges on the nail plate. You can use this also along the free edge to smooth out any work that you do with a coarser grit file. As a remover, you can just use acetone, and yes, I do recommend acetone over non-acetone polish removers. Basically, the quicker that you get your nail polish off, the better. Soaking your nails in any type of liquid makes them weaker. And you don't want weak nails, which is why you're going to need some good files. Now, instead of investing in premium brands like I showed you before, you can just go to the drugstore. That's where I found this one from Tweezerman. However, I still recommend that you look for a grit. This one is 100 to 180, so that's why we have the sponge buffer. Again, of course, you'll need some cotton and some cuticle oil. Here I'm using coconut oil because that's what I have, but my highest recommendation is actually jojoba oil. Did you know that jojoba oil is not even an oil? It is a liquid wax, and it is the closest thing to our skin's natural sebum. Even though it's labeled as cuticle oil, it's going to go on your entire nail bed and the surrounding skin, so the thing that's closest to your body's natural chemistry is going to be the most beneficial. And finally, our save option. Now this is going to be the least amount of products, but potentially just as effective. Okay, so first we're going to start off with our cuticle softener, and like I said, water is free and easy. You can soak your hands in a bowl of warm to room temperature water for about a minute, and that's it. And if you don't have a bowl, well, a sink works just as well too. Next is going to be your hand lotion, and though I recommend this for every budget, this is going to act as our cuticle conditioner for the save category. But any old lotion will not do, unfortunately. I do recommend that you try to invest in as natural a brand as you possibly can. Basically, the oils in your hand cream are going to act as your cuticle oil. Check the ingredient list. If it has water, mineral oil, and a bunch of other things you can't pronounce, it's no bueno. Next, if you don't want to use cotton or you're allergic maybe, then you can just use paper towel. This is easy, cheap, and free if you steal it from your parents' kitchen. Don't tell them I told you that. And for those of you who were probably thinking, how could I possibly replace polish remover? Trust me, I found a way. Actually, back when I was in college, I showed one of my classmates this, and she still uses it till this day. If you have polish that you need to take off and maybe it's an emergency situation and you don't have polish remover, you can just use nail polish itself. The solvents in the nail polish are going to dissolve any nail polish you are already wearing. Okay, and finally, even if you're on a budget where you want to save, I do recommend that you buy a file because teeth are not acceptable. This was again from the drugstore, and I don't think it was more than like $1.50 or $2. And the great thing is that it is a 280 to 320 grit, so it is super fine, which means it's going to be really gentle on natural nails. So for anyone who suffers from really weak or peeling nails, I actually recommend this type of file, or even higher if you can find it. Alright guys, and that's it. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I am going to show you some of the techniques that I showed you in this video in the next installment of this basic series. So be sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss it. If you just can't wait for the next video, then be sure to check out my nail care routine by clicking right here.